Hello, idiots! Welcome to the Idiot's Guide to Smart People. Today's topic, politics. Politics is the smart person word for yelling about the government. As an idiot, it's one of your favorite pastimes. But if you ever get stuck in a political argument with a smart person, you will be strongly tempted to punch them in the face. So, to avoid going to jail for assault, here's everything you need to know about smart people and politics. First off, misconceptions. As an idiot, you have no idea how the government works. But smart people are confused too. Their knowledge of how the government theoretically works gives them the delusion they can change how the government actually works. Unfortunately for them, knowledge is not power. Money is, and only rich people can actually change things. Which brings us to not making a difference. Smart people have a variety of methods they use to exert zero influence over the government. A petition is intended as a powerful statement of collective action, but it's really just a list of people who aren't rich. When the petition fails, a smart person might employ the fearsome tactic known as a passionate email. Smart people have been known to spend hours writing these pretentious manifestos, which are then carefully read by their congressman's trash can. These bizarre behaviors get even worse during elections. In a representative democracy like the United States, elections are regularly held to determine which wealthy liar will run the government. Which means rich people have to occasionally pretend to care what idiots think. So, in election years, rich people hire smart people to figure out what idiots think so the rich liars can lie to the idiots more effectively. And these smart-rich partnerships exploit your deepest emotions to trick you into supporting anything at all.
It's time for Fully Threaded Radio.
It is Fully Threaded Radio. This is the voice of the FCH Sourcing Network. Yes, it's another issue of As the Screw Turns, or What Turns and What Burns, or whatever other fastener cliche you want to throw at it. I'm Eric Dudas. He's Brian Musker. How you doing today, Brian?
Doing pretty good, thanks, actually.
We're kind of winging it today, folks, because like so many people in the industry, we're all getting ready for the big show coming up in Vegas next week. And many of you probably will be listening to this either on the way to or from the show. And of course, we'll have complete show coverage afterwards. I'm thinking it's going to be another good one. What do you say?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready for this one actually now. And I hope we have lots of people coming by asking me difficult questions, the usual ones, okay?
You never know what people are going to ask you at the trade show, that's for sure. We're in wonderful booth 1855 this year, folks. It'll be worth the walk, so come on over. We've got your free pocket Constitution as an incentive, along with the Jumbo Fastenertron, upon which you'll be able to view all of our wonderful new tools that we're offering.
Right, and we are not bringing the non-magnetic fridge magnets too.
Finally learned our lesson.
Right.
Hey, we've got a great show for you today, folks. We're going to kick things off with a conversation with our buddy Gary Graham from National Threaded. He, I guess, is something you would consider to be a young fastener professional. Have a little bit more about that. And, of course, that is not more than just an unofficial title these days, as we'll soon find out.
Right.
We've also got a feature segment today with the amazing Mr. Charlie Kerr. Now, we originally invited him on really kind of as a pre-election, midterm election analysis segment idea, but it turned into much more. And he has some very interesting comments on what's going on in the industry these days, commentary about a few other things as well. Very well worth listening to this feature segment with Charlie Kerr of Kerr Lakeside. Plus, kind of a big deal here, Bri.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yes, that's true. Sitting in for Mike McNulty with the Fastener News Report, it is the big deal in the industry, Ms. Jackie Ventura with the Fastener News Report. I was very impressed with the array of headlines that she dug up and presented for this episode.
Oh, cool.
And I should say that this is episode 87 of Fully Threaded Radio, and we've got some great sponsors as usual, don't we, Bri?
Yes, we do, and we're very lucky to have them. The title sponsors of Fully Threaded Radio are Stellfast and Trinity Hardware Headquarters. Stellfast, for service you deserve and people you trust. And Trinity Hardware Headquarters, for parts done right. Also sponsors are Buckeye Fasteners, Volt Industrial Plastics, Fastenal, ND Industries, and Solution Industries, home of Solution Man. So thanks to all of you, and we welcome you, okay?
We welcome you all, and thanks everybody for listening in. We always appreciate the feedback that you give us, and you can get with us anytime at the email address ftr@fullythreaded.com. Hey, failed to mention this year, in addition to all the other wonderful things we'll be offering at the Vegas show, we'll be joined by Jody Elizabeth Jeffrey of the company Brooks Jeffrey. They have created a very wonderful application for the fastener industry. Some of you small and mid-sized companies who are, let's say very, politically correctly, technically challenged, and you're looking for a solution, stop by the booth, look for Jody. She'll be able to help you out. I think we've got a great solution. It's called Fastener Quick Site, and a couple of really cool options on that. We'll talk more about that probably after this episode. We'll have her on, and we'll go into really great detail. But you'll have a copy of that on the Jumbo Fastener-tron, won't you, Brian?
Oh, yes, I will, actually. Yep. Another thing I crammed in my little laptop. I mean, it's sort of amazing that you can take, a whole system spread over 3 servers and 70 databases and try and squish it into a little laptop to make it all run. But it works pretty well.
I never cease to be amazed at the ability of your wizardry with all of this technology. We run our own web server right under the riser that we bring to the show every year, and it's worked like a top every time. I hope I didn't jinx us, Bri.
No, I know. So do I, actually, because it's always, the first time we turn it on is very much fingers crossed, because we just have to have a web running. I mean, that's us.
That's us. We are the guys who bring you the FCH Sourcing Network. We'll talk a little bit about that and more right after this. Thanks for listening, everybody. It's Brian and Eric, Fully Threaded Radio.
Yes.
When top quality and outstanding service are at the top of your list in fastener suppliers, turn to Stellfast. Since 1976, Stellfast has grown to become an industry-leading importer and manufacturer of the highest quality industrial fasteners, specialty items, and automotive parts. Our array of facilities across North America and in Asia, along with full quality control labs and ISO 9001-2008 certifications, ensure the highest quality parts, and at Stellfast, they're delivered with undisputed service excellence. We're family-run and dedicated to your success. Our customers have come to depend on the expertise of our staff and the quality of our products. We also offer a wide range of secondary services to meet some of the toughest requirements you might have. Contact Stellfast today through our website at www.stellfast.com and put us to work for you. Stellfast. Service you deserve, people you trust.
Where do you go when you need fasteners fast, or a unique part that you can't live without? 3 words: Trinity Hardware Headquarters. You can easily find whatever you're looking for with our convenient online catalog that features over 30,000 different types of fasteners available in packaged quantities, product kits, and assortments. And now you can order over 2,000 of the most popular line items online 24/7, 365. Whether you're looking for standard inch and metric sizes or one of those hard-to-find parts, it's not hard to find at TrinityHardwareHQ.com. With over 400,000 square feet of warehouse space in locations throughout the Midwest and South, filled with over 18 million pounds of fasteners, Trinity Hardware Headquarters has exactly what you need. When you can't afford downtime, let Trinity Hardware Headquarters hold it together with the fasteners you need. Visit our website at www.trinityhardwarehq.com or call us at 888-232-1010. Trinity Hardware Headquarters, for parts done right.
Hello. You may not know me, but this is the voice of Buckeye Fasteners. I don't usually drink beer, but when I do, it is always Old Rusty Bolt beer, the official beer of the traveling salesman and Buckeye Fasteners. So, if you're attending the Fasteners show in Las Vegas, be sure to stop by Buckeye's booth 845 on Thursday to get yourself an Old Rusty Bolt beer. Stay rusty, my friends.
ND Industries has been solving customers' toughest problems through innovative technologies, competitive pricing, and industry-leading service since 1955. A family-owned business, ND Industries manufactures and applies fastener locking, bonding, sealing, masking, and assembling products. Their pre-application process makes fasteners ready to use at the point of assembly, resulting in reduced labor costs, time savings, and superior quality assurance. As a fully integrated company, ND handles all aspects of operations, from formulating custom chemical compounds and coating fasteners to providing inline inspection, packaging, and delivery services. ND Industries serves the global market with 13 divisions in the continental U.S. and also facilities in Taiwan, China, and Turkey. Learn more about ND Industries at our website at www.ndindustries.com. ND Industries, innovative technologies, competitive pricing, and industry-leading service. Contact ND today.
My customer sent me a print for a bolt specifically for the machine in his shop, but we can't make it.
Solution man, Ken. Provide me with the print, and my superhuman CNC machining team will custom make it for you faster than a manufacturer's rep drinking at an open bar. Visit the Solution Industries website for details at solutionind.com.
Wow, that is fast.
So are you at the distributive social, huh?
This is JR from JHP Fasteners, the precision fabricators and distributors' #1 source. Come visit us and the Fully Threaded crew on Facebook and Twitter for the latest in fastener news and facts. You're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Brian and Eric back with you, doing the job most fastener people just won't do. Well, we're in a good mood for lots of reasons, Bri. We've got the show coming up. We're going to be getting our new, or I guess our latest color of Stealthfast Monkey to add to the collection, among other things. And the show's coming up. I think you've got a list of some of our friends and their booth numbers. We'll point those out for everybody in just a minute. But we'll be making our big Fastener Training Institute scholarship announcement at the Bourbon Room at the show this year. That's going to be good, or at the after party. So that'll be cool. A lot of cool things going on.
Oh, yeah, I know. Actually, I really enjoy the shows now, even though it's pretty hard work. It's hard work for everyone. Day standing, talking, you end up you're losing your voice by the end of the day. But there's lots of people. We have a lot of people stop by, and have people come by, and they're always trying to give me these trick questions that they think we're going to find nothing on. So
you're a pro. You're a pro.
I know. I love those ones.
And you're a pro because you are the guy who has written most of the software, and we are the people who bring you the software that runs the FCH sourcing network, and that's at www.fastenersclearinghouse.com. Hope everybody by now is pretty well aware of that. Get out there and use it whenever you need to. It's a free resource for you. About 1.2 million lines listed out there. And if we can help you to move some inventory, we'd be thrilled to do that. Details about that are on the site. Or if you're heading out to Vegas, please do stop by and we'll give you the pitch on that one. But we'd be happy to have you running some stuff there. We actually did, for a fairly large fastener company this week, a test of the scrubber and its capabilities. And that's another reason that we're kind of in a good mood, because it really, really passed the test with flying colors, didn't it?
I believe so. So
how did that work? They shot up a list of test items, and they were trying to fool the scrubber, and we get like 99% accuracy?
Oh, not quite. 98, I think it was. It's pretty good, though. Pretty good. And it's, it's had years to for us to hone it and make it that way. So it's cool. And, they were interested in picking out particularly the point types of the screws, which Scrub is perfectly capable of doing. It just doesn't normally show people, that's all.
I see. Well, you keep refining the scrubber and the entire FCH sourcing network, and so it keeps getting better and better. And with the help of our listeners and others that stumble into it, it keeps getting to be a bigger and bigger network. We do appreciate every one of you being out there and sharing it. It certainly has been a gratifying process. And getting to know more people each year when we go out to the show, we've got more and more friends. And why don't we go down the list of some of our sponsors to make sure that everybody knows that they'll be at the show. And I think you put a little list together, those guys. Like, for example, if you wanted to get a StealthFast monkey, where might you find that at the show this year, Bri?
Well, StealthFast's got two booths, 1011, 1011, and 916. So, but I'll do them in alphabetical order, okay? So, Buckeye Fasteners, booth 845. Fastener Technology International Magazine is 1039. InSequel is booth 1211. Metric and Multi-Standard Components Corp. Go and see Rich Cavoto, 1108.
Our buddy.
Yep. The NFDA, booth 104, just by the door, I think. Indie Industries, booth 1508. Solution Industries and the Solution Man, 924. StealthFast, I've said before, 1011 and 916. And Trinity Hardware Headquarters, booth 1129.
And I have it under good word that Mr. Dan Zender will be there this year. Last year he wasn't able to attend, so be looking forward to seeing him out there.
Yeah, and if you, if all you people who actually use FCH, if you have any suggestions, things that you think could make your life easier, if we could do something for you, don't be frightened to stop by and tell us how you think we could make it better, okay?
That's right. Hike all the way down to 1855. We'll be there.
Right. Here, have a rest on the way, okay? You probably need to.
And I have a suggestion on that front too, Bri, because I have some comments on a couple of these booths. Some of our really good friends have some very interesting things happening. And during the course of the show, you'll hear the ad from Buckeye. They're going to have, as they did last year, plenty of old Rusty Bolt beer on hand. That's going to be great. And of course, Bob Reynolds is one of the granddaddies of supplying kegs for the Fastener show. He, of course, the big boss over there at InSequel Software. We'll be making some announcements about InSequel Software, but they are becoming the official software of Fully Threaded Radio, we're happy to say. And hopefully we'll get some tighter integration going there. As many of you know, InSequel users and other platforms as well, we have some integrative features, and it's kind of going to another level with InSequel these days, so that's really cool. I also have some information from the folks over at Solution Industries. Got an email here from Mr. Don Solution Man Shan. They have done kind of an interesting thing. There's this rash of new organizations and so forth, it seems, in the industry. Of course, we're going to be talking about the young professionals in a few minutes with Gary Graham. And actually, folks, stay tuned for at the very end of the show. I got an announcement of some of the official winners of that 30 under 30. I guess that was a promotion that we were a little bit under our radar, but apparently the announcements have been made.
Actually, you should always stay to the very last of the podcast, because you never know what Eric's stuck in at the very end that none of us know about, okay?
That's right.
You have to keep listening till the end.
Yes. What do they call those Easter eggs?
Well, I'm glad about that, because I used to be one of them, and it was invariably saying, I can't think of anything more to say. So I got sick of that. But the idea was actually pretty good. I thought.
That was the most famous one, that's for sure. Yeah. But sometimes we put something in there, sometimes we don't. But hopefully people are listening to the whole show. That happens to be a pretty good one. On the other hand, we're scrambling to get everything ready for the show too. So I'm not saying one way or the other, but I do promise at the end of the show we will make a few announcements about the 30 under 30 winners. Now, getting back to Don Shan's announcement, they have created a new website. This one is for inside sales folks, and they refer to these people as doing a lot of the heavy lifting in the industry, but they're not always supported or recognized. If you go to the website, www.fastenerinsiders.com. There's a new resource available for you. They're going to try to build a support source for inside salespeople, and we'll see where that goes. But the folks over at Solution are always thinking of new things to do. They're also mentioned that we're going to be making our scholarship announcement, and that's for the Fastener Training Institute Training Week. But right. Solution also is offering a scholarship. It's unrelated to that one, but if you go to the Solution Industries website at solutionind.com, you can get some details about their scholarship that they're offering, and that's more of a general type of a scholarship. But hey, in this economy and the way education costs are skyrocketing, might be worth a look. That's at solutionind.com. The good folks at Solution Industries.
And you know that at Solution Industries, they usually have a link to an MP3 version of the last podcast that we produced.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, another reason, hat tip to them.
Yeah, it is. Thanks, Don.
So again, the website to check out for the inside sales is fastenerinsiders.com. Well, Bryce, shifting from inside sales guys to outside sales guys, we have a gentleman on the line with us right now. We were speaking to him, I guess most recently at the North Coast Fastener Distributor Social earlier in the year, and he is one gung-ho outside sales guy. He is Gary Graham of National Threaded. Gary, welcome to Fully Threaded.
Thanks for having me, Eric and Brian. How are you guys this morning?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I think the last time I talked to you was a beautiful afternoon over in Cleveland. Lovely sunny afternoon.
We don't get many of those, so you can remember the good ones.
Oh no, it was a great. We had a great time over there actually.
It was a good turnout this year.
It was an excellent event, and it was excellent to talk to you about your experience with outside sales. Now, you recently moved into the outside sales realm for National Threaded, and one of the things that struck me, and one of the reasons we wanted to eventually get you on the podcast, is because you do have that excitement, almost a fever for what you do. Yeah, how can you explain that? I mean, you did it so eloquently that afternoon.
I just really enjoy it. I'm actually fifth generation in the fastener industry, so it kind of runs in my blood, and we can't get away from it.
God, I'm sorry for you. How do you try to stop that?
I don't know. I tried to teach my son to move away, but he's learning to count now, and we're using fender washers to do it.
Maybe you need to try something else to count with, okay?
They're there, though. I really enjoyed, the nuts and bolts of things growing up. It's a reason the term is nuts and bolts of things. And moving up, I started in the warehouse and just really grew to enjoy everyone I worked with. And I just enjoyed running my mouth and talking. And it kind of translated pretty well into the outside realm, I believe.
Now, you were sharing with me some of your experiences in the military, and you were over there in the sandbox for a little while, you were saying. I don't know how much you want to talk about that, but you mentioned to me that you felt like some of the skills that you had learned or the disciplines you developed in the military transferred for you very well into the fastener world. Could you speak on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I had a great time in the military. I was in Iraq in 06 and 07, and I'd be walking around Humvees and looking at the armor plates and checking out the grade 8 flange bolts and lock nuts that are holding everything together. And I told everyone, like, hey, my uncle sells those. One day I'll be in the industry. And here I am. Those things hold up. You always check to see if anything went wrong with the bolts when things hit the fan. And, grade 8 fasteners, they hold in there pretty well.
Yeah.
As far as military experience, I have the standard resume responses. The military instills dependability. I'm on time, hardworking, a general respect for authority that seems to work great in the office place. But with outside sales, there's the intangibles that go along with it. The ability to work with people from all over. The military does a great job of pulling kids from all over the country, putting them in one place. They get the job done. They put their differences aside, and they get it done. the ability to follow through to an objective, long days on the road, being away from home, it's a very comforting level to me to be home, on the weekends. So that all worked really well in my favor, I believe.
Do you spend whole weeks out on the road? I mean, is that your general MO?
But typically, 3 to 4 days a week. I normally schedule about every other week, which to me, that's too much time at home.
I'm not sure if your family would think that.
Yeah, I got a very strong wife. She was used to seeing me gone for 2-3 months at a time, 6 months, 7 months, 3 or 4 days. She's a very tough woman and handles it pretty well.
Yeah, well, it takes a special kind of woman, or I guess person, to be a spouse of a military person who's deployed all the time, and I guess that is also carrying over for her now that you're an outside sales guy. Tell us a little bit more about National Threaded, what's going on over there these days. And actually, before you do that, we mentioned your family. I want to congratulate you because before we started recording, you mentioned that tomorrow is the first birthday of your daughter, and congratulations to you and your whole family on that.
It is. Thank you so much. Yeah, my daughter's turning 1. I don't know what I'm going to do now. I'm going to start talking to boyfriends and cleaning the shotgun, I guess.
Good man.
Well, you could try.
She's got an older brother. She's got an older brother that watches out for her already.
Oh, okay. You could try some lessons counting things other than fender washers, okay?
Yeah. Surgical instruments for when she becomes a doctor.
Okay.
So back to National Threaded then. What are you guys up to? What's the latest news? What do we need to know?
We've had an extremely busy first half of the year. It's been great all around. We've been excited. Like we said, we're redoing the offices now, so we're feeling as beautiful as we look. Brought in a new product line this summer. We brought in some serrated stainless steel flange bolts.
Oh.
That was something when I was inside sales we got calls for every day, but we turned them away, and finally picked up on what people were asking for. That line's doing really well. And we have shaker screen bolts coming in sometime this winter. We're still getting those on order right now, but those are a fully threaded carriage bolt.
I like the sound of that.
Pretty excited. Yeah, hopefully they turn out pretty well. We like to stay niche here. Don't step on too many toes in the industry.
Got it. Now, for those of you who want more information about what else is happening over there at National Threaded Fasteners, you can do so online. The website there, www.flangescrews.com. And National Threaded is located in Perry, Ohio.
Yes, right outside of Cleveland. Go Browns.
Seems like everybody we talked to on this episode has some connection with the Browns, and I don't know when you're listening to this podcast out there, everybody, but they just crushed the hated arch rivals, the Steelers, and it was very satisfying for Browns fans.
Yeah, when you win once a decade, you got to go hard when you win.
So. Right. You could hope to win a little more often than once a decade, then you set the sights a little differently.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to talk to a Cubs fan and get any sympathy really out of me, but congratulations nevertheless. Hey, switching gears now, you I guess would be a person who would qualify as a young fastener professional, and there's a new organization out there for young fastener professionals. I think they're calling it 30 under 30. The website is youngfastenerprofessionals.com. What can you tell us about that?
Well, the Young Fastener Professionals, they're getting together with Fastener Coalition for the 30 under 30. They're really trying to highlight individuals that are coming up, some of the younger group. They're changing with technology. They're changing the way business is done, and the youth market is really a place to be doing this. They're getting a network, and they're really focusing on the industry moving forward and changing in the current environment.
Yeah, now we're excited about this because this is the group or the crop of professionals that Brian and I have been waiting for, because we have a whole group.
7 years, okay.
Yeah, and we have a bunch of tools too that I think are going to come in handy to people who are more familiar or comfortable with mobile devices and so forth, and doing business on the road and mobily and wirelessly and so forth. So we're happy to hear about this, and
right.
We'll look forward to somebody, at least from that organization, keeping us advised on how things are going.
Yeah, it really seems to be making a difference. The changing environment truly is the use of Twitter, Facebook, podcasts. It's a new environment, things that weren't around 10 years ago. It's a new way to market and communicate and network with each other.
Right, but how does that alter your job and how you do your work as a salesman, then, outside salesman?
The technology?
Yeah.
Oh, honestly, I've only been doing this for a short while. I didn't have to do it the old way. I don't know how I could do without the technology. I make trip maps in Google. As soon as I exit off my desktop, it's on my phone. I know where I'm going. I have GPS in the car. I even have a PDF scanner on my iPhone. I'm really never too far from the office or out of touch. It speeds things up. Communication is instant nowadays.
Yeah, I can't even make it to Walmart without using my GPS, so I know what you mean.
Yeah,
well, I don't use a GPS. I spent a whole week in Dallas, and I never knew at any stage anything other than where Waze and my iPhone was telling me where to go.
Mm-hmm.
I spent a whole week navigating solely with my phone.
Yeah, I get real bad with it now. I put it in for routes that I know where I'm going, and then I argue with her that she's telling me to go the wrong way.
Well, it's good. It sounds like you got the right gender for your voice then for an argument.
Yeah. Well, someone nice to talk to.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, Gary Graham, you are an outside sales guy for National Thread, and we sure do appreciate you joining us again. We were talking at the North Coast Association meeting back in May. I'm sure we'll meet you at future meetings. You guys going to be heading out to Vegas this year?
We will be out in Vegas at booth 706 if you guys want to stop by.
I'm surprised you didn't mention anything about your interest in riding motorbikes.
Oh, yeah.
Where did that go in the conversation?
Yeah, weren't we supposed to bring that up?
We actually just passed that anniversary. It was 1 year ago, October 8th. I wrecked a dirt bike. I had more speed than talent, and I have 14 metric bolts implanted into my shoulder because I love the fastener industry so much. I just wanted it with me at all times.
I thought that was it. I'm glad you mentioned that. I thought there was an important part missing, okay, that went with the anniversary.
I just realized, well, thank you. I realized that they put metric bolts in me, even though I'm American-made, so we'll have to discuss that at a later time.
Yeah, that's a bit of a worry, actually. Yeah, I couldn't let that one go, okay?
Oh, no problem. It's a good story. We actually have a street sign here in the office that I took out. We just found it when we moved everything this week.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I sheared the street sign right at the base.
Oh, God.
Now, I know in hindsight, this was really a tragedy, but in hindsight, you made it okay. You're going to have some pain in that shoulder for probably, a lifetime.
Yeah.
But you have a movie of that. I thought it would be a neat idea if you put that out on a monitor on your booth at Vegas, and you definitely attract some attention with that and start some interesting conversations. But
and then I can have the X-ray with the bolts.
Yeah,
well, you could give us the movie, and we might be able to show it on our Fastenatron.
Oh well, it drops right before I hit, so it is self-edited. You could hear the owner of the dirt bike saying, "I'm going too fast." So that's not a good sign.
Okay. Now, another one of the great benefits of modern technology that we're running into.
Yep. Yes, sir. My cousin Andy, he was actually taping it, and he dropped the camera, and I had to let him know, third wall, you're never supposed to drop the camera. It's supposed to be on me at all times. But
he'll get there. He's a young professional, too, so little experience won't hurt any of you guys. Well, Gary Graham, National Threaded, we really appreciate it. Again, the website, if you want more information on Gary or his company,
www.flangecrews.com.
That'll work.
Thanks for joining us, Gary.
Yeah.
No problem. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Pleasure, mate.
And we'll be right back with more Fully Threaded Radio.
2 men, 1 server, a fastener dog, and a stunning lack of more lucrative alternatives. It's Fully Threaded Radio.
Iowa, field of dreams, Hawkeyes, corn, the only state that starts with 2 vowels, and the home of Trinity Hardware headquarters. What's so special about Trinity Hardware headquarters? How about the fact that offering 30,000 types of fasteners just wasn't enough variety? So they've added new lines of packaged clamps, rib neck carriage bolts, and plow bolts. And who doesn't need new plow bolts after this winter? Trinity Hardware headquarters also has over 600 cushioned clamps made in the USA by KMC, 18 sizes of ribbed neck carriage bolts, and over 40 sizes of plow bolt kits. And that's just the new stuff. They're still stocking their 400,000 square foot warehouse top to bottom with screws, nuts, bolts, washers, fittings, just about any fastener you could possibly need. And you can order 24/7 online from trinityhardwarehq.com or call 888-232-1010 anytime. Trinity Hardware headquarters, for parts done right.
There are plenty of great-looking, high-functioning websites in the fastener industry, but let's face it, lots of fastener distributors have sites that leave something to be desired. Hey everyone, it's Fully Threaded Radio co-host Eric Dudas here, asking a very simple question. Does your website need a fast and cost-effective upgrade? If so, I have great news for you. And I'd like to introduce you to Jody Elizabeth Jeffrey of marketing company Brooks Jeffrey.
Hi, y'all. This is Jody Elizabeth, and we're so delighted to be partnering with the FCH team to bring an all-new fastener distribution website solution to the industry. It's called Fastener QuickSite. Everyone in the fastener industry knows FCH, and Brooks Jeffrey has been in the marketing business since 1984. We started working with fastener websites such as the Fastener Connection in Houston and Southwest Fastener Association. Then we met up with the guys from Fastener Clearinghouse.
That's right, Jody. Your team does a fantastic job of providing great-looking, easy-to-navigate websites for small to mid-sized businesses. And your content management engine updates make it as simple as can be. Fastener QuickSite brings all of these features to fastener distributors. It's fast, full-featured, simple, and affordable.
Thanks for saying so, and I agree. That's why we have hundreds of websites now in service across a broad array of companies and organizations. Better yet, for the fastener industry, we've created a website package that uses the FCA Quick Catalog and Quote Builder. This allows fastener distributors of every size or technical ability to compete online by presenting their inventory listing on the web, but at a small fraction of the cost and with much less complexity of a full-blown e-commerce.
Hey folks, stay tuned to Fully Threaded Radio, as we'll be talking a lot more with Jody Elizabeth about the many benefits of Fastener QuickSite for fastener distributors who need to move to the next level with their web presence. Until then, Jody, how can people contact you?
I'd be delighted to hear from any Fully Threaded listeners who need a fast and affordable website upgrade and who'd like to have the power of the FCH search interface right on their own website. So call me at the Brooks Jeffrey main office, toll-free number 800-506-8064. That toll-free number is 800-506-8064. Looking forward to hearing from y'all.
Thanks, Jody. It's good to be working with you and your team on Fastener QuickSite, a much-needed website solution for the fastener industry. For more, the number once again is 800-506-8064. Hope to hear from y'all real soon.
Do you know how to create an integrated campaign to promote your company's products and services? Or how to write a dynamic press release? What's in your communications toolbox? Attend the 5th annual Wi-Fi Speaker Series and Networking event on October 22nd at the National Industrial Fastener and Mill Supply Expo in Las Vegas. Learn how to elevate your company's profile at conferences, how to make a presentation to clients that is clear, fast, and to the point. Learn why and how to use Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn to brand your company and yourself. What is a hashtag, and why does it matter? Why is it important to have a good headshot and a professional website? Learn about all of these new sales tools and more. Participate in the Wi-Fi networking event and win prizes during the Wi-Fi raffle. Come get inspired and create your communication toolbox for today's world. Visit fastenerwoman.com for more information. This is Pam Berry at Advanced Components. I'll see you there.
This is Bryn Stack from Spencer Products, your source for threaded inserts, blind rivets, and huck bolts. You're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Brian and Eric, fully threaded.
Yes.
You know, things keep getting weirder and weirder. We just got an upgrade from the ISP that hosts Fully Threaded Radio. A really great service that we use to support the streaming side of the Fully Threaded Radio project. And they gave us all this new reporting capability, and we now have a much better grasp on the geography of our listeners. And I was really surprised because coinciding with the onset of all Ebola all the time, we have now apparently developed a small listenership in Africa.
Wow. I would think there's people in Australia and New Zealand there too.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if you're making the connection here. You turn on the TV or the radio, man, and it's all Ebola all the time. And so we just got this capability, and I don't think we've ever had African listeners, and now we do. So I don't know, coincidence or not.
I have to go. It's got to be a coincidence. You could fall into a trap here so quickly. I'm not going to step away. I'm not going to touch this one.
Yeah, we're not going to really dig too deep into Ebola on this one, even though the show is commonly referred to as predominantly fastener-related. Another weird thing is I noticed today, right at the end of my workout, I've been wearing my workout pants inside out the whole day, and it didn't even occur to me until I just looked down and I see my training pants are inside out. I have about 5 pairs of the same one. I wear the same ones to the gym. I've been doing so for about the last 12 years, and why didn't you point out my pants were inside out, Brian?
I guess I'm not wandering around looking at people's pants. Okay, that's probably one reason.
Great.
You listeners will be thankful to know that.
Guess I know who's got my back.
Right.
On the other hand, it's comforting to know that you're not looking at me too closely. Unlike the substitute newsreader that we have today, who is a big deal in this industry, and of course that is Ms. Jackie Ventura. Now, speaking of weirdness, one of the weird things is that McNulty is at a spring conference that's happening in the fall, and I asked him, well, do they have a spring conference, or is there only a fall spring conference? And I don't know if he got the joke, but I'm going off on a tangent here, aren't I?
Yeah. It's like the Chicago announcer on one of the programs that used to be on Saturdays used to confuse everyone by talking about spring back and fall forward, and everyone used to get muddled up with daylight saving.
Well, do what I do and just let the battery in your watch expire and wear it as a fashion statement, and use your phone as your clock, and you'll never be late. Right.
I've been using my phone, my clock for some time, actually.
Hey, as I said, we do have the Fastener News Report coming up in just a moment, and Jackie mentions that she will be reporting on the Fastener Distributor Index, and I have a piece of news about that. We actually had to cut that portion of the report out because after we recorded with Jackie, we received some information from the NFDA. Those of you who have been following the Fastener Distributor Index know that we've been on a little bit of a hiatus in terms of our reporting the numbers that we've been collecting. And that is because our good friend and analyst Holden Lewis has moved on. He's taken a new path in his career. We wish him very well, of course. But the great news is that the NFDA has stepped up and they are working with us. They have lined us up with a new team of analysts, and we hope to have the new FDI in place very soon. The information that Jackie had was actually kind of superseded. I received some information from Vicki Lester over at the NFDA earlier today, and it's all going in the right direction. We really do appreciate the support of the NFDA. And the Fastener Distributor Index is only going to get stronger because of this. It'll be different, but I think it's going to be bigger and better than ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
what makes all of our work worthwhile, because it doesn't happen for nothing and it happens for free. It takes effort.
It takes a lot of work, and believe it or not, we're going on 3 years of data now, and I just can't wait to look back and see in 10 years, how does it lay? I mean, is it a leading indicator? Is it related in somehow, in some fashion? One of these analysts is gonna break it open for us, but we've got to collect the data, and we've got to have it analyzed. So, without too much further ado, we're going to bring on the Fastener News, but I'd like to point out that it is being brought to us today by Volt Industrial Plastics, makers of the world's finest plastic fasteners. Of course, the title sponsors of Fully Threaded Radio are Stelfast and Trinity Hardware Headquarters. We have a whole bunch of other great sponsors. We thank you all, folks, and we look forward to seeing you all at the Fastener Show. And why don't we bring on with some news about screws you can use, the Fastener News Report.
Thanks, Brian and Eric. This is Jackie Ventura, and I'm happy to be filling in for Mike McNulty during this episode's Fastener News Report. As usual, the Fastener News Report is brought to you by Volt Industrial Plastics, makers of the world's finest plastic fasteners. Like Mike, I am a Cleveland native, and as an independent sales rep of fasteners and industrial products, I try to stay focused on fasteners, even after watching our Browns whoop the Steelers' butt this past Sunday. We went into the game 2-2 with hopes of beating our arch rivals on our home turf, and I'm happy and excited to report that on a beautiful fall day in Cleveland, we kicked Steeler butt with a final score of 31-10. On today's report, we discuss the progress on the transformation of the Fastener Distributor Index, which is now being strongly supported by the NFDA. We'll also bring you news on the upcoming Las Vegas Fastener Show, as well as news from Spiral International, Lindstrom Metrics, Fastenal, Pop and Avdel Rivet, Hudson Fasteners, TriMas Corporation, MSC Industrial Supply, and Applied Industrial Technologies. My backpage report will be a brief commentary on the federal takeover of our children's education and the implication of Common Core standards. We will get to all of that right after this.
Whether you need a small or large number of fasteners, there is no reason why you should have to sacrifice quality or service for that matter. Volt Industrial Plastics takes great care with each and every order to ensure you receive a quality fastener in a timely and affordable manner. Our state-of-the-art production equipment allows us to produce any quantity you request quickly and efficiently. And with same-day shipping on nearly 1 million in-stock fasteners, we carry an inventory so you don't have to. Visit us online at voltplastics.com to find out more about our quality American-made products. Volt Industrial Plastics, manufacturer of the finest plastic fasteners in the world.
Hello. You may not know me, but this is the voice of Buckeye Fasteners. I don't usually drink beer, but when I do, it is always Old Rusty Bolt beer, the official beer of the traveling salesman and Buckeye Fasteners. So, if you are attending the Fastener Show in Las Vegas, be sure to stop by Buckeye's booth 845 on Thursday to get yourself an Old Rusty Bolt beer. Stay rusty, my friends.
I know my customers' yearly usage, but I don't have the warehouse space to store it.
Solution Man can. Submit a blanket order, and I'll not only set up release dates, I'll offer you bulk pricing too. Visit the Solution Industries website for details at solutionind.com.
You're my fastener superhero.
Just doing my job, ma'am.
Welcome back. And now for the latest fastener industry headlines. Spiral International Corporation is now offering 2D and 3D drawings of their products. Drawings are available for both standard and common special items. There are well over 100 different series of products in both metric and inch dimensions available. In addition to being able to download each drawing in approximately 40 different file types, all standard products are provided with Spiral's item number and weight for the part. Spiral's engineers are available to review your application needs and work with your design team to recommend the best solution at the lowest assembly cost. Lindstrom Metric announced the retirement of Senior Vice President of Sales. After 16 years of outstanding and dedicated service, Mike French made a decision to slow down and smell the roses. Friday, October 3rd, 2014 was Mike's final day with Lindstrom Metric, thus concluding an impressive 42-year career in the fastener industry. The Fastenal Company has acquired certain assets of Avtech Industries, a wholesale distributor of aerospace fasteners, electronic components, and miscellaneous aircraft parts. Fastenal President Lee Hines stated, "We feel there is a strong opportunity for our company to continue to grow within the aerospace market. Avtech Industries will be a great asset in that mission." Avtech Industries specializes in the sourcing, distribution, and fulfillment of off-the-shelf and hard-to-find products, and services customers in the industries including aerospace, aviation, aircraft repair, air conditioning, automotive, window manufacturing, and other commercial concerns. Pop and Avdel, two brands that literally wrote the book on blind fastening, are joining together to become the largest provider of such fasteners in the market. Stanley Engineered Fastening, a Stanley Black & Decker company, has announced it is joining two most famous brands in blind fastening, Pop and Avdel, into a single entity. The new brand will be known as Pop Avdel and will become the largest in the market, producing the broadest line of specialty engineered structural and non-structural blind fastening systems in the world. These iconic brands are the largest and the oldest in blind fastening, dating as far back as 1933 for Pop and 1936 for Avdel. This union is designed to create an integrated product line with combined experience of almost 160 years. The merger promises to lead to even more innovative fastening solutions in the future, as well as consolidation and streamlining of existing product lines to help manufacturers build more structurally sound products. On September 25th, Hudson Fasteners hosted the first ever Fastener Symposium for the North Coast Fastener Association members at America Makes, formerly known as the National Additive Manufacturing Innovation Institute in Youngstown, Ohio. The purpose of the event was to educate and introduce the fastener industry to the America Makes facility, which focuses on helping the United States grow the capabilities and strengths in 3D printing and additive manufacturing. I was able to participate in this event, and as indicated in the news from Spiral International previously, it is obvious that 3D printing will gradually be making its way into our industry. TriMas Corporation, a diversified global manufacturer of engineered and applied products, announced that it entered into an agreement to acquire All-Fast Fastening Systems for approximately $360 million. Upon closure of the transaction, All-Fast will become part of the company's aerospace segment, formerly known as the Aerospace and Defense segment. All-Fast, which is headquartered in Southern California, is a leading global manufacturer of solid and blind rivets, blind bolts, temporary fasteners, and installation tools for the aerospace. The acquisition further strengthens TriMas's growing aerospace business. It is strategically aligned with the company's objective to grow its higher margin business platforms and will enable the company to better leverage anticipated strong growth rates in the aerospace sector. MSC Industrial Supply opened a 400,000 square foot distribution center in southwest Columbus, Ohio. The facility will employ 100 workers, with MSC planning to increase that number to 300 over the next 4 years. MSC Industrial Supply is one of the largest direct marketers and premier distributors of metalworking and maintenance, repair, and operations (MRO) supplies to the industrial customers throughout the United States. MSC employs one of the industry's largest sales forces and distributes over 500,000 industrial products from over 2,000 suppliers to over 300,000 customers. Applied Industrial Technologies of Cleveland, Ohio, announced that it has acquired Reliance Industrial Products, Nisku, Alberta, Canada, a leading supplier to the upstream oil and gas industry. Reliance was founded in 1993 as a specialty hose and fitting supplier to serve the unique needs of the oil field drilling industry. And finally, the National Industrial Fastener and Mill Supply Expo, scheduled for October 22nd through 24th at the Sands Expo and Convention Center in Las Vegas, is reporting that it has broken its all-time exhibit space sales with a record 822 booths. Pre-attendance numbers are also looking very strong. Managing partners Mike McGuire and Jim Bannister also report they are sponsoring TJ Munson, a young fastener professional of International Fasteners Incorporated, to attend the Fastener Training Institute workshop being held Wednesday, October 22nd, as part of the event's all-day conference program at the Sands Expo Center. Don't miss the after party after the show on Thursday, known as the Bourbon Room Bash. Things should start heating up around 8 p.m., and this year, your fully threaded radio hosts, Brian and Eric, will be announcing the winner of a full scholarship to the Fastener Training Institute's Fastener Training Week. That announcement will take place at 9:30 p.m. If you submitted an entry essay for the scholarship, you need not be present, and good luck to all who entered. Now for the back page report with comments on what every parent should know about Common Core. The Common Core initiative includes all the elements necessary for federal control over our local schools and classrooms, which includes national standards, national assessments, federally dictated teacher evaluations, and cradle-to-career data mining of our children. The Common Core standards were put into place when school districts accepted federal race-to-the-top funding that was part of a stimulus package proposed by President Obama without a public vote. The Common Core standards were developed by a group of individuals invited by the National Governors Association and the Council of Chief State School Officers, both of which are private membership organizations, to create a set of academic standards to be used across all states, even though federal law prohibits the federalization of curriculum. Since the Common Core standards were not created locally, parents, taxpayers, and school boards had no authority over the standards, thereby removing local control. The Common Core standards are copyrighted and cannot be modified. The Common Core standards are an experiment. They have never been tried, tested, or proven anywhere, ever. Studies are showing the Common Core math lowers the bar, and as admitted by Jason Zimba, one drafter of the Common Core math standards, the standards were designed to prepare students for a non-selective 2-year community college, not a 4-year university. Common Core also eliminates classical literature study and has been described by Dr. Sandra Stotsky as empty skill sets that weaken the basis of literary and cultural knowledge needed for authentic college coursework. Her analysis so far indicates that the reading level deemed sufficient for high school graduation will be at about the 7th grade level. As a parent of a 5th grade student, I am extremely concerned with the long-term negative effects Common Core will have on my child and children everywhere. My home state of Ohio is one of 32 states with a repeal bill in legislation. 4 states have already rejected Common Core, and the rest are waiting for a reality check. Our children are not common. They should be taught that they can be exceptional. I encourage you to visit the Truth in American Education website for important information and further explanation of the Common Core standards. This is as serious an issue to our education system as Obamacare has been to our healthcare system. If you agree with me that America should be directed by Americans and not small, secretive groups of social engineers, then please get involved in your community to stop Common Core now. The Truth in American Education website can be found at www.truthinamericaneducation.com. This has been Jackie Ventura of Fasteners and Industrial Products, filling in for Mike McNulty for the Fastener News Report. Thanks for listening, and I hope to see you in Vegas. Any questions, comments, or complaints can be sent directly to me at jv@jackieventura.com.
Great job, Jackie. Up next, it's the Fastener Training Minute presented by ND Industries. Then, Charlie Kerr joins us for an amazing segment on a slew of topics. Stick with us. It's Fully Threaded. ND Industries has been solving customers' toughest problems through innovative technologies, competitive pricing, and industry-leading service since 1955. A family-owned business, ND Industries manufactures and applies fastener locking, bonding, sealing, masking, and assembling products. Their pre-application process makes fasteners ready to use at the point of assembly, resulting in reduced labor costs, time savings, and superior quality assurance. As a fully integrated company, ND handles all aspects of operations, from formulating custom chemical compounds and coating fasteners to providing inline inspection, packaging, and delivery services. ND Industries serves the global market with 13 divisions in the continental U.S. and also facilities in Taiwan, China, and Turkey. Learn more about ND Industries at our website at www.ndindustries.com. ND Industries, innovative technologies, competitive pricing, and industry-leading service. Contact ND today.
Hi, everybody. This is Carmen Vertullo for the Fastener Training Minute, and today's topic is a little bit unexpected. I made a recent trip to a very important national defense facility, and I can't tell you what it was, but I could not possibly exaggerate the importance of the work that they do there. In any case, my visit was to help train them in some fastener issues, mostly relating to suppliers and paperwork, test reports, and certifications. It turns out this facility is having significant pain and impact on their work because their suppliers are not providing good paper. So I think it's a topic that we need to talk about, and it's something that gives us an opportunity for training, and the Fastener Training Institute can help you out with that, and we'll talk more about it in a minute.
Hi, this is John Walkman for the Fastener Training Institute. Like a lot of you, we're getting ready for next week's Fastener Show in Las Vegas. This is a busy show for us, and we hope many of you can join us for at least one of our events. Bengt Blendoff is once again presenting his Fastener Technology Workshop. This is a great program taught by one of our industry's most talented and respected instructors. Please consider registering for this high-content and entertaining class, which is offered on Wednesday, the day before the show opens. I promise you will not be disappointed. Make sure to stop by the FTI booth to visit with us and enter our drawing for a free fastener training webinar. We'll have 5 winners each day. These fastener product training webinars are now offered monthly. A new topic is offered each month. This month's webinar covers structural bolting and will be broadcast on Halloween. Don't be scared to compete for the structural bolting business in your area. Come learn the basics. Next month, we will present our last Certified Fastener Specialist Week class for 2014 at the Industrial Fastener Institute's headquarters in Independence, Ohio. This class is co-produced with the IFI. It's a comprehensive 5-day class that is always well attended and received. For more information about all of our events, please visit fastenertraining.org. Now back to Carmen Vertullo for our Fastener Training Minute.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Carmen Vertullo with Carver Consulting, continuing the Fastener Training Minute. My recent visit to a very important national defense facility was based on the fact that they were having some real problems with paperwork coming with their fasteners through the distributors that were providing them. And it's always been my feeling that as fastener suppliers, one of the things we get paid for is serving our customers with good product when it lands on their dock. Not only are the parts right, but the paperwork is right. It holds up, it looks good. They are not delayed in being able to use the parts by having to call you back and ask you to complete the paperwork that comes with it. A couple of things I saw that I felt were pretty egregious were lack of good lot traceability. We could not confirm from one test report to another whether the test reports applied to the fastener in question. I actually saw a situation where the test reports were in German, 100% in German. The package said that the country of origin was Italy. Now, whether there's a possibility for that to occur, I don't know, but it did not give the end user a sense of confidence. So I'm very concerned that there may be a trend in our industry, because I've seen it in more than one place, that we're losing the scent in terms of the importance of good paperwork. lot traceability, certifications, and test reports. And I'm hoping that this will be a topic of a near future Fastener Training Institute webinar. So be looking for that. And you can get lots of information about the training programs that are available from FTI at fastenertraining.org. Again, this is Carmen Vertullo from Carver Consulting with your Fastener Training Minute.
Hi everyone, it's Brian Musker. If you're listening to Fully Threaded, then you're no doubt aware of the FCH sourcing network found at fastenersclearinghouse.com. You've probably also heard about our legendary scrubber software that makes listing your inventory on FCH a snap. But have you heard about the new FCH SmartLink interface? With SmartLink, users of Business Edge, InSequel, and Distribution One have a new weapon in the war against excess inventory, because each of these platforms now links directly to the FCH Scrubber system through an automated interface. The best part is that this new tool is available at no additional charge to FCH members who use Business Edge, InSequel, or Distribution One. With SmartLink, you can keep your inventory listings up to date with the click of a button, so it's a win-win for all FCH users. The new FCH FastLink interface is really big news, and we'll be thrilled to have your company using it. Business Edge, InSequel, and Distribution One users should contact their software provider for details, or just call me, Brian Musker. You can reach me through the FCH website at www.fastenersclearinghouse.com. That's fasteners with an S, and the S is for scrubber.
When top quality and outstanding service are at the top of your list in fastener suppliers, turn to Stelfast. Since 1976, Stelfast has grown to become an industry-leading importer and manufacturer of the highest quality industrial fasteners, specialty items, and automotive parts. Our array of facilities across North America and in Asia, along with full quality control labs and ISO 9001-2008 certifications, ensure the highest quality parts, and at Stelfast, they're delivered with undisputed service excellence. We're family-run and dedicated to your success. Our customers have come to depend on the expertise of our staff and the quality of our products. We also offer a wide range of secondary services to meet some of the toughest requirements you might have. Contact Stelfast today through our website at www.stelfast.com and put us to work for you. Stelfast. Service you deserve, people you trust.
This is Bill Johansson from Delta Secondary in Bensenville, Illinois, the fastener distributor source for all specials and secondary operations. And you are listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Well, Bri, fully threaded listeners, at least loyal ones, know that this is predominantly fastener-related of a podcast.
A couple of diversions occasionally.
Yes, here and there, hither and yon. And we have a very great example of that now, because with us is a very dynamic person. He's a great fastener man, and he's pretty knowledgeable on other subjects. He's Mr. Charlie Kerr of Kerr Lakeside. Hi, Charlie. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Oh, welcome, Charlie.
Well, thanks for having me back. It's always a pleasure to join your program.
Got to tell you, congratulations on this most recent victory by the Cleveland Browns over the hated Steelers. I mean, that thing came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'd rather be watching Indians still playing baseball. Baseball's my game. I'll take the win, but it would be more fun if the Indians were in the American League Championship Series, quite frankly.
Yes. I know you are a baseball man for sure, but you're a Cleveland man as well. So hats off to the city. So let me ask you this. Let's get started just with a real quick fastener question. Are people still out there? Are they looking for quality? Are they looking for price? Are they looking for both? What's going on out there?
Well, they're looking for me to ship the stuff as fast as we can get it out the door. We have our fiscal year will end October 31st, and we expect to set an all-time record for sales of standard socket products. We're not getting a lot of price pressure at the moment. We're not getting a lot of pressure, for, rebates and things like that. So I'm going to say that the market is very receptive right now to something that meets the spec and is available when it's needed. I think I've told you the story before. I was down in the Carolinas, and I went to a guy who was building machinery, and he pointed at it and said, the price tag on that thing is $5 million, and it's got a couple $100 worth of fasteners in it. I'm not interested in saving money on the screws. That thing has to stay in one piece when we power it up. And so that's the kind of guy I need to do business with. The only thing is, if he's not telling his distributor, specifying, if he just sends in a generic PO, he could get anybody's parts. Now, that guy did specify, and the purpose of our trip was to try to get us added to the approved suppliers list, which did not happen. I was bummed out because, he was a pretty large user of socket products, but at the end of the day, he said, the two people that were on the list, they're both domestic suppliers. They have to give me a reason from a quality perspective to add someone to the list, and they haven't done that. It wasn't anything we did wrong. It's just that at the time, he was not having any quality problems whatsoever with the product he was using, and he said, give me your stuff for free, I don't care. He said, it'll cost me a fortune if the stuff doesn't perform when it's in service. But that's basically how we go to market. Expensive item with a relatively, percentage-wise, small amount of fasteners in there, and that's our customer.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to run something by if I can while we're getting warmed up here.
Go ahead.
I want to talk, my dad, passed away last week.
Right.
In fact, it's kind of one of those, it's a real small world. A friend of mine who used to be a truck driver and decided to go to nursing school was on duty and at my father's bedside Wednesday night at about 3 o'clock in the morning when he left us. My dad was the very first patient that this gentleman had that expired while he was on duty. And I was not there at the hospital, but I just found that kind of odd that somebody I knew, of all the people who worked for the Cleveland Clinic, he was there. I don't know. It's kind of like, what are the odds of that?
Yeah.
What I basically just want to run by is a little bit of a blurb on succession planning. There's two kinds of succession plans. A lot of people in the fastener business are running family-run businesses. You have the legalities, like in the event the owner dies, how do we ensure that the ownership of the business stays within the family with the properly designated people, voting the controlling shares and things like that. And that's usually done by a lawyer, an accountant, and depending on how many family members might be in the business, pretty straightforward. The event that triggers that, obviously, is the death of the shareholder, whether it's the majority shareholder or whatever. It could even apply in the nature or the event of a partnership. But you also have management and leadership succession, and this is what I want to speak to. My father never retired. He was 88. And quite honestly, my first day on the job as the undisputed CEO of Kerr Lakeside was Wednesday morning. Because he would come in, he hadn't been in a couple months. I think the 29th of April was the last day he actually came into the office. We still had, stockholders meeting, on the 18th of September where he grilled me about a lot of stuff. Okay, steel prices went up. What are you doing about it? What I mean. So he had his handles on enough to, be aware of what needed to be questioned. But there were a couple of times he came in and he would say, why are you doing this like this? And, whether it be, people in the sales department, engineering, they'd say, well, Charlie told us to do it like this. And his answer would be, as long as I walk in the door, I'm still calling the shots. And this was, like as recently as a year ago, he would be doing this stuff. And it created a lot of confusion. And my advice is to anybody that you care to, share it with at any time in the near future, is that if you are a parent of a child who is in your business and the expectation is that one day they're going to run the place, you need to have a target date established when you start having that conversation. Because I spent 35 years of my life not knowing when I was actually going to take the controls of this company. Now, if my dad would have retired when he turned 65, I'd have been 35 at the time. I don't think this place would still be in business. I thought I was ready to do it back then. In retrospect, I wasn't, and I didn't think I was close. So my old man probably made the right choice, not, vacating the premises then. But I think it's fair to say 10 years later, when he was 75 and was still working 6 or 7 days a week, I was ready. And, I was told since I was a little kid, you're going to go to work at the company, one day you're going to run the place. I think it's very unfair to bring a family member into a business with the expectation that someday they're going to be in charge without having some sort of date set. It's like, and I know that that's kind of hard to do because no one's got a crystal ball, but it created a lot of confusion around here because no one really knew. And quite frankly, it wasn't like it was a detriment to the business. It was just frustrating to me.
Sure. Charlie, I got to tell you, I think that is a great point. What that reckons me back to is the conversation that we had during one of the interviews Dan Zender did. I think it was his first Legends of the Industry, where he did his father and his uncle, and the idea was they set up a system where they were going to trade off, the brothers were going to trade off the CEO and the president role, and it was going to swap back and forth every year. It turned out to be just a disaster. And so it's a great point. I think different family businesses experience it different ways, but sounds like you're left with a little bit of a challenge there.
Well, I'll tell you what. The challenge was, my dad knew what he was doing. My dad loved what he was doing. He wouldn't be in the National Fastener Hall of Fame and, some of the other, he was chairman of the ASME B18.3 committee for a long time, president of the National Screw Machine Products Association. He did some, fairly substantial stuff in the industry outside of the company. Late in his career, he loved doing it. And when I had to, I kind of told this story at his service on Saturday. As a young kid, I always had this sort of preconceived notion there'd be this fancy retirement party with guys running around in tuxedos and champagne glasses, and it'd be big toast, Dick and Rita. My mother would hop in the car and drive to Florida where they would retire and hang out in the winter, and it never happened like that. And so he had a skin condition where if the door closed on his arm, he could bleed, and sometimes it would be rather substantial. And I told him, I went up to his apartment, I said, listen, until he's healed, you can't come into the office anymore. Because, you're dripping blood, on the desk, the paperwork, it's just...
Nobody wants a bloody invoice, let's face it.
Right. Well, plus, he's, guys come in from the shop, their hands aren't real clean and stuff like that. So I said, you could get an infection. This is just, it's got to be cleared up. And he looked at me and said, Charlie, these are never going to clear up. This is something I'm going to have to live with. And he stood up out of his chair and started just with his walker, heading up the hall. And I stood there and I watched him. It was about maybe, 65 to 70 feet down the hall. And he hung a right-hand corner. And I said, this is not the way I wanted this to end. I took something away from my father that he loved and cherished. Now, I know in my heart I did the right thing because it wasn't good for him. It wasn't good for the employees. But I just felt that from a dignification perspective, my father's career, both with the company and the industry, needed to end under different circumstances. And this is something that's going to take me a little bit of time to come to terms with, because I just, it's one of these things that he deserved a more ceremonious send-off, if you want to call it that.
Sure.
But he didn't get it. But obviously it was kind of his own doing. But he's made his mark on this industry. You mentioned, quite frankly, there's a lot of other people out there. You don't get to have the reputation Dick Kerr had without being passionate. This was not his job. This was his passion. And I'll leave you with this and we'll change the subject. His pet peeve of all the people that care to know about this was we would get requests to quote specials. And, they're socket products, but they had, dimensional features that, caused them to be, deviations from the standard. And it was usually thread length. And the drawing would come in and there'd be a dimension from the point to, the last scratch of the thread. And he would call people up and he would get kind of, impatient with them is probably a soft way of saying it. Yet dimension from the bearing surface to the beginning of the transition angle to, where the pitch diameter starts. And there were times, we had some substantial, orders for several 100,000 pieces that he would not enter until the customer signed his drawing showing the dimension from the bearing surface to the transition angle. It's like that. Look, I mean, it's why you can be so hard-nosed? Because that's the way the spec is written, and damn it, these people need to know. And, I mean, he was very adamant about making sure people were properly educated about, the specification. And but of all the things that I guess, that I'd like people to know, if you really wanted to get Dick upset, send him a drawing that had a dimension for the thread from the point to the transition angle instead of from the bearing surface to the transition angle.
He was a fastener man.
Oh, for sure.
Well, I'll tell you what, Charlie. Originally, we had invited you on the show during this particular episode. We always love having you on, but we wanted to talk a little bit about the upcoming midterm elections, and we couldn't think of anyone better to make some commentary and some predictions, perhaps even. No one more outspoken. And then when this event happened with your dad, of course, obviously wasn't expected, at least this exact date, you never know, but we sure do appreciate you coming on, and we want to wish you all our condolences that we can, and we appreciate you going through with it. And what we decided to do was change the format from kind of a round table where we were going to have some additional guests, and we just wanted to kind of focus on you. So thank you so much for sharing that story to kick off this segment, because there is so much to talk about. We'd like to get your perspective a little bit, if we could, on what's happening out there from the Kerr Lakeside view in the industry. But then we'd like to jump into what is going to happen during these midterms. What's the election about? If you have any predictions you'd like to make, if you've got any candidates you think are going to kind of wind up as the ones left standing, and so forth. So once again, we really appreciate you joining us on this episode.
Well, let me start by saying we're pretty busy right now. And I was recently at the Industrial Fasteners Institute meeting that they had in Newport, Rhode Island. It was about 3 weeks ago. Most of the other fastener manufacturers that I had a chance to caucus with basically said the same thing. They're very happy with their workload. They could probably add a couple more skilled people. Like right now, I could easily put 2 skilled header operators on our night shift. Problem is, someone who is that good to be trusted to run a $1 million machine unsupervised probably doesn't need to work that shift. Right now, we're actively analyzing the feasibility of buying a brand new header. We've had some conversations with National Machinery. Sent them some drawings. It'd basically be, roughly, a half-inch diameter type product we'd be looking at. And what prompted me to go forward with that is there was a gentleman that spoke at the Industrial Fasteners Institute meeting. His name's Kerr. And the 5-second version of his presentation, which, a lot of graphs and charts and, supporting evidence, was that he feels that manufacturing should, this is my interpretation of what he said, because he talked for, quite a while. But if you're in manufacturing, like making fasteners, you should expect to maintain your current workload, if not see an augmentation of it, at least until well into 2017.
Huh.
Now, that, kind of, sounds like, it's only 2.5 years or whatever. But when you start talking about buying new machines and stuff like that, and you have an economist, the IFI brings him in frequently, who has a accuracy rating that's pretty good. If you just say, hey, look, the bottom's going to fall out like it did in 2009, I'd tell the guys, they would want to buy a machine. But I'm feeling pretty good about things right now. There was another gentleman that spoke that talked about activity in the automotive industry. And although one of the things I'm a little bit concerned about, he said, expect about 7 million plus units to be built on an annual basis, coming forward like in 15, 16, and possibly 17. How that affects our industry, I think, needs to be analyzed in the perspective of a lot of transplant companies like Honda, Nissan, Hyundai. There's a couple others I won't bother naming. They bring in sub-assemblies from Asia. So the fasteners are already in these things.
Mm-hmm.
So, the domestic car companies, GM, Ford, and Chrysler, if they're going to build, when the guys that make in the car parts are busy, they're not contemplating ways to make standards and go steal industrial distributor customers. So you got two speakers at this meeting that pretty much said the same thing. If you take metal, either you stamp it, turn it, form it like we do to make fasteners, melt it and make, a casting out of it. Things look fairly promising for, the next couple of years. And I'm going to this Precision Machine Products Association meeting next week. Actually, I'm leaving Wednesday. They got a speaker coming in that's going to basically talk on the same subject. I'll be shocked if this guy contradicts what these other two speakers had to say.
Well, I'm glad to hear that prognosis. I really don't understand how to interpret necessarily that whole automotive part, though, because every time I turn around, it seems like I'm reading another story about, either more of GM moving directly to China, more of Ford moving directly to Mexico, and of course those sub-assemblies, as you said, come back with the fasteners inside, and I don't get it. I mean, I love the positive news, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
I can help you with that. I heard on the news, Ford is moving production, I'm assuming it's assembly work, from Mexico to Avon Lake, Ohio. They were, that plant was building the Econoline vans and a few other trucks. Now, as far as GM in China goes, those cars, in fact, I went to China, I'm going to say close to 10 years ago, and there were Buicks everywhere. And they're built there. GM is not building cars in China to ship to the rest of the world. They're building vehicles in China to sell to the Chinese. The day may come where they could build some vehicles there for export, but I can't see General Motors exporting cars built in China back to the United States.
Okay, so if that's true, that it stands to reason, because every time you turn around, you're reading an article about the middle class in China growing and the quality of life improving and so forth. But what about the plants that are leaving the U.S. and those jobs don't seem to be coming back, or am I just completely messed up with that?
Well, I know General Motors has, in fact, I'm a little bit rusty on some of this, but they had some facilities in Europe that they're losing money on, and they're going to close those. The 17 million unit build, that's based on cars that are going to be assembled and sold in the United States. So, like I said, there's, the transplants, they do bring in a lot of sub-assemblies, but, there still are a lot of threaded fasteners used in cars and trucks. In fact, I'll be somewhat vague about this, but there's a company out there that makes truck parts that occasionally, when they get real busy, they sublet some work to us. They're our largest customer right now.
Is that right?
Huh.
Yeah, we're like the safety valve, and they told us to expect, this to continue well into the next year.
That's
now, one of the reasons why they're our largest customers, because these are fairly large screws. They're made out of, the material content is, pretty substantial. I mean, we're not talking, number 8 by 3/4 screws. These things are about 7 inches in diameter, about 6 inches long. So it's a fairly heavy part, but the machine just keeps pounding away. I'm thrilled to do it, and they're not easy parts to make. So I'm blessed that they trust us to make a quality product for them.
Well, I would think so. Yeah. So from your perspective, then, really, the economy isn't in bad condition at the moment, and probably is going to stay in reasonable condition for a while.
My expectation is that the manufacturing sector of the economy, and the reason why I want to qualify that,
better. Yeah.
There are other parts of the economy that are not enjoying the resurgence. See, there's a couple factors in play here. I believe reshoring is in fact helping us. I'll give you for instance. socket head cap screws, which we manufacture, are not used in direct production of anything. But for instance, just those plastic faucet handles that you see at Home Depot and Lowe's and some of the other home improvement stores, they are made with plastic injection molding machines. All of the molds are held together with socket head cap screws. So if the faucet manufacturer decides that handle, which is a relatively small percentage of the total cost of the faucet, is really not that good a bargain to come in from China or some other low-cost country, and they start making that thing here again, someone out there that's running a molding shop is going to need to buy socket head cap screws that didn't need to do that when the stuff was being made in China. And I am convinced that while it's happening in fact, I'm glad it's happening at a rather slow pace, because if it was, something that happened like an avalanche, no one would be able to adapt to it. I am convinced that a lot of relatively low cost items like faucet handles or cake pans that are stamped and the stamping dies are held together with, socket head cap screws, even light bulbs, although I'm not sure about the tooling for that. Anything that's made with tooling that's held together with socket head cap screws, a lot of that stuff is coming back because the cost of it arriving late, the cost of it not meeting specification. I mentioned this before about Horton crossbows. They had, started even having sub-assemblies made overseas. They had recall problems on, stuff that's nickel and dime parts on a $600 crossbow. And I think that reshoring is happening. I don't think it's a passing fad. I'm convinced it's going to be a sustained event. And we're making some, long-term decisions here at the company about staffing levels, inventory levels, capital investments, based on this trend continuing for a very long time, if not indefinitely.
Oh, well, Harry Moser would be happy to hear that. He probably knows it.
Well, here's the thing. Who do you think I'm getting all this information from? No, I believe Harry knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Now, in all fairness to everybody involved, I was at a meeting, and there's a speaker there from Plant Moran. And he said that, a lot of the work is coming back, but it doesn't translate into more employment. And I agree with that fellow to an extent. In our business, it's going to mean more jobs, because if I start running headers on a second shift that are currently only running one shift, I got to hire people to do that. But a lot of the assembly work, let's say, I mentioned a lot of the transplants bring in sub-assemblies that are already, semi-put together. It's all done with labor in the Chinese factories. If the work comes back here, or if the parts come back here, a lot of it's going to be done with robotics and other high-tech assembly methodologies. So we're back in the 70s and 80s, before this happened, with, the work going over there. A lot, because I remember one time I was at a Texas Instrument plant. They made air conditioning components down in Lexington, Kentucky. There were a lot of people at tables, wiring stuff together and, putting things, whatever. It's all going to be done with robotics and other automatic things. So if you make the components, you're going to have more work. If you were involved in assembling the components, you're not going to be having the same number of people working in your factory. And I get that.
And we could easily segue into our whole issue and our sub-theme on the show of transhumanism, but I think we'll avoid that and move swiftly onto politics, which, hey, maybe our politicians actually already have made the shift. They already know the singularity happens, and that's why all these weird things keep happening.
Right.
We've got a midterm election coming up here very soon, Charlie, and in your opinion, what's it about? Is it about the economy? Is it about the open borders? Is it about Ebola? Is it about ISIS? What are we thinking about as we go to the polls, do you think?
Well, the bottom line is this. When I was a young man, I bought a house in 1979, and my next-door neighbor was an older gentleman who at that time was probably in his early to mid-70s. And we were fairly much aligned in our thoughts about politics. And he would always pull his wallet out of his back pocket and say, at the end of the day, he said, social issues today, you get, same-sex marriages, some of the other, the war on women, on and on. He said, at the end of the day, if people think that their economic interest is at stake, that's how they're going to cast their vote. And the economy, like I said, manufacturing is doing pretty well. But there are people out there who, while they're employed, are making less money than they were before things fell apart in 2008 and 9.
Yep.
A lot of people have given up working. If cost of your hospitalization insurance has gone up, even though it's still employer provided in many instances, people have money deducted from their paychecks. Copays and deductibles are going up, but their disposable income, for the most part, is not keeping up with this. So that is going to affect the way a lot of people vote. And here's where I'm going into this. Public assistance payments have basically kept pace or accelerated. The people who live on public assistance don't see what's going on as a threat to their livelihood. I think turnout amongst that particular political mindset group is going to be low. Now, back in 2012, when President Obama was reelected, I predicted he wasn't going to win that election, and here's where I screwed up on that. The Turnout the Vote campaign that his campaign had in place was never dismantled after the 2008 election. He kept campaigning. And they still call him the campaigner-in-chief.
Right.
He's not on the ballot. And a lot of his core support people do not see a compelling reason to vote. Now, a lot of them are going to, because they're going to vote no matter what. But I think
they're going to be dragged out to vote.
No, I think that turnout amongst people that came out in large numbers for Obama in 2012 was going to be, I shouldn't say depressed, but it's not going to be nearly as sufficient as it would need to be. And here's where I'm going to give you the answer you're finally looking for. I do believe the Republicans are going to take control of the Senate.
That was my next question.
Well, here's why. Because, see, back in 2008, when, there was Bush fatigue, Obama was this new, let's face it, he was a new guy. He wasn't part of, the inside establishment. Everybody wants to throw the bums out. He was the fastest way to do it. Well, the Republicans were defending, I think, like 25 or 26 Senate seats that year. And all those seats that they lost are now up. And they're up with an unpopular president who they, virtually rode this guy's coattails in the office. Most of those seats are in states that Romney won in 2012. Now, the Republicans probably will not win enough Senate seats to actually be able to override vetoes and, the 66 or whatever. But I'll be shocked if they don't have at least a simple majority when the Senate starts its next session in January 2015. There's, I'm not going to go through race by race because it gets kind of tedious, but just to repeat what I said a minute ago, enough seats are in play in states that Romney won. And now, I said this, last time we talked, believe it or not, that was 2 years ago already. And I basically said any state that Obama did not carry, a state that McCain won in 2008, so there's no way that Obama's going to win that state in 2012. I'll show you how smart I was, because you won a couple states that McCain carried. They were states McCain, like, I think Virginia, I'd have to check the map. I think McCain carried Virginia by a very tiny margin. Romney lost it by a tiny margin. But any state that Romney won 2 years ago, and there's a Senate race going on, with the exception of Kansas, and that's kind of a screwy deal because I think you got 3 people running there. Any state that Romney won has got a Senate race right now. I'll predict that the Republican candidate will win, barring any last-minute, major. Let's face it, there were a couple guys that could be senators right now that aren't because they said some stupid things toward, the last couple of weeks of the election. As long as everybody keeps, stupid statements out of the newspaper. Like, for instance, the woman running against Mitch McConnell down in Kentucky. I heard, she was being interviewed, and, the short version of what she said was, this is a coal state, but after I'm, elected, we'll fix that problem. Basically what she's saying is, I don't want the coal miners to know, but I buy into President Obama's carbon-free agenda. Well, okay, there were microphones and tape recorders running. Now the whole state knows she said that. I don't think if McConnell was in the competitive race then, I think she saw to it that that's not the case today.
Lucky us.
Yeah.
Well, we've got the whole other issue of the media bias that's out there, and that I mean, we could spend hours probably throwing examples of that out there, and there's no doubt it's going to have an impact on what ultimately happens during the election. Let me ask you this last question about the results of the election. Assuming that your prediction is correct, do you think, or what do you think, that a Republican-controlled legislature is going to do on the subject of so-called immigration reform?
That's a good question. I'm going to tell you why. There's a saying, politics can make strange bedfellows. Now, at the risk of opening up a can of worms that maybe you don't want opened up, I had mentioned early in the interview you're conducting with me that if I could find some skilled people that knew how to run headers, I'd put them to work on a night shift. Now, I don't think there's any skilled header operators down in El Salvador or Nicaragua or Honduras or Mexico. But there might be a couple of them over there in Eastern Europe and the former Soviet bloc. Now, I know that immigration, for some reason, if, I don't know, there's, I think I had to explain, so I've taken 2 hours to do it. You can get a work visa, depending on what you know how to do. For example, a lot of people come in from India that have engineering degrees or, medical professionals. And the people that, are leaders in that industry maintain there's a severe shortage of people. And so those people get preferential treatment when they're passing out these work visas.
Sure.
Obviously, the lobby that represents our industry's got nowhere near, the megaphone that, like the medical industry does or whatever.
True.
But if something was put in place that allowed people from Eastern Europe to come live in this country and, they would take these jobs on my night shift, I'd be all for it. But if, and the Chamber of Commerce has basically a friendly view to that type of reform. But if what they're going to say is everybody that snuck in that's already here is allowed to stay, I got a problem with that. And I also think a majority of the electorate has a problem with it, because one of the reasons why people's paychecks have not kept up with the cost of living is because the market, I must be honest about this, if you have a degree or, some very highly specialized skill sets, you're not really hurting. But if you're in what I would call, entry level or, intermediate level type skill job, the market is flooded with people. A lot of them, there's 12 million illegal immigrants out there.
Oh, 12. Triple that, man.
Well, no, but I mean, what I'm getting at is, like, let's say, okay, and I'm not exploiting this, but, we have people that, work in our, company that, say they're working in the packaging department. If I ran an ad in the newspaper for that job, I would probably have dozens of people who are qualified to do that job. That has industry-wide, economy-wide, a depressing effect on wages. Now, see, I need people that show up sober. I need people that show up regularly. I need people that show up on time. So we're paying a lot more than minimum wage. But one of the reasons why so many jobs do pay minimum wage is because there's no shortage of people they can find to take them.
Sure. Okay. So let's cut to the chase. What are the Republicans going to do? Because right now, the current administration is basically assisting the at least the Central American media to spread the message that it's basically a free ride. You get up there, you get your 3 hots and a cot. Life is going to be great. It doesn't matter. And, if you're a 37-year-old orphan, then you're more than welcome, and they're coming by the millions. And what do the Republicans do about that?
Well, they're conflicted, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I believe the reason why the liberals are being so generous, if you want to call it that, with the immigrants from Central America, regardless of whether they're here legally or not. Those people are seen as future members of the Democratic Party that could be counted on to vote liberally. A lot of Republicans are thinking, well, we don't want, to bring people here that might vote for, my opponent, but I got this big campaign check from a guy that's a member of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and he wants me to take a liberal view on this position because he's having a hard time hiring people at a wage he thinks he can afford to pay. Eric, I want to be real clear with you. If it was up to me, I'd put an impenetrable barrier on that southern border. I would have military personnel patrolling it. It would be secured. No one would get into this country that wasn't allowed to come in through the process. But there's people that are already here. And the Republicans are under a lot of pressure to accommodate their presence. And the pressure is coming from people that typically support them financially on all the other issues. This is a serious problem. I don't think it's going to have a game-changing effect on the upcoming election. I think it's going to be more a problem for the presidential election 2 years from now.
I totally agree with you in everything you just said. And I'm going to close the conversation with a real, probably a difficult one, but one I know you're probably up for. Who are the contenders going to be for the presidential election in the next one?
The contenders?
Yeah, do we get a Rhino? Do we get a Rand Paul or a Ted Cruz on the Republican side? And do we get Hillary, or does she get somehow knocked out by somebody? Who's going to be up against each other?
Well, that's a good question. Well, let me tell you, I'm going to sidestep that for 1 second. I was at a meeting several years ago, and there was a speaker there, and I want to make sure I got the guy's name straight. His name's Warren Rundstedt. I might pronounce his last name wrong. Warren was kind of a insider with the Bush administration, the first Bush administration. And there's something that I took away from that meeting that really spooked the heck out of me. Did you ever think about, Mary Madeline was Bush the first campaign manager in 92 when Bill Clinton was elected, and James Carville was Clinton's campaign manager. Did you know that literally they were sleeping together because they're husband and wife?
I know, that's the weirdest couple. I have no way of explaining that.
Well, okay, I'm going to explain it for you. Here's what this guy said. Publicly, the Clintons and the Bushes have this, we don't like each other, but he insinuated that there was a deal made, and Obama screwed it all up. See, Hillary Clinton was supposed to be elected president in 2008. Obama came along, and, then Jeb Bush was going to be like the guy 2 years from now. Now, personally, I don't care what your politics are. I don't think two families should dominate, politics at that level of government for that long a period of time. The Kennedys fantasized about doing it, and it just didn't work out.
Not in a democratic republic.
Right. Now, having said that, Hillary Clinton, I think at the end of the day, is going to decide not to run. Supposedly she has health problems. Now she has a grandchild.
There's an ego a mile high, though, so it's going to be hard to convince them not to.
Now on the Republican side, there's some, believe it or not, don't be surprised if Mitt Romney makes a second run. I don't know if he'll get nominated, but, he's got the name recognition, and a lot of people are starting to have, buyer's remorse. It's like, wait, I should have voted for this guy, and it's possible that could carry over. But at the end of the day, my prediction would be this, and again, keep one thing in mind, this is like an eternity. The nominee for the Democratic Party is going to be someone who currently is a governor of a state. Now, it's not going to be Jerry Brown from California. It's a big state. It's not going to happen. It's not going to be Cuomo in New York. But if you look at who the popular governors are that have E's after their name, I think one of those guys is going to emerge as the nominee. On the Republican side, I'm going to say the exact same thing. The nominee for president of the Republican Party, by the way, that convention is going to be held here in Cleveland, Ohio. And regardless of your politics, if you like the party, go to one because that's all they do.
Not only that, but you have the world's largest outdoor chandelier now.
Right. But I think, once again, the Republicans are going to nominate somebody who is a popular governor. Now, Christie is a Republican in a relatively blue state. He's a little bit of a, eccentric personality. He comes with some baggage. Kasich is going to have a very easy re-election. I won't bore you with all the particulars of Ohio politics, but the Democrats nominated someone that no one ever heard of, and quite frankly, no one really cared to know more about. The guy there's a problem there. Sherrod Brown, who's the current senator, the fact he didn't put his hat in the ring to run for governor was a clear indication that this was not going to go the Democrats' way. But I think Kasich is a real possibility because he's going to be riding a landslide victory. There's no doubt in my mind that's going to happen. So, Christie, maybe there's a couple other guys out there. Quite frankly, Jeb Bush could reappear, but I don't count him as viable because of the same reason I don't count Hillary Clinton as viable. I think people have just had enough of the Bushes and the Clintons.
Well, I hope you're right on
so
that.
My prediction is two governors, one that's currently sitting in the mansion of the Democrats, and a governor that is, and it will be someone that's been governor for at least 6 years. So, I'm not getting specific about names, but I'm predicting it's going to be two governors of states running against each other in the next presidential election.
Fair enough. I'm glad that you didn't throw Elizabeth Warren in the mix because it sounds like the media is secretly lobbying to get Hillary's replacement, and the same types of people would probably elect her, and she'd be equally as disastrous in my estimation. And I'm also surprised that you didn't throw in either Paul or Cruz as possible contenders because, quite frankly, either one of those two I'd be thrilled to have as the next president.
You know what? I agree with you on that. But see, one thing that, I spent a fair amount of time volunteering in, congressional campaigns and Senate campaigns and things like that. Ted Cruz, this is the example I'll make. This goes back when Howard Metzenbaum was senator from the state of Ohio. And I said, I'd love to have a guy like Jesse Helms be our senator, but I'm not going to work on that guy's campaign because I know no one in the state's going to vote for him. I really think Cruz has got issues with electability because he's, very popular. First of all, he's from Texas. Rick Perry, Perry's the governor, so he kind of fits into that category that, say it could be a governor. Whether it's the Clintons, Bushes, or, the states. Texas, I think people are just like, okay, Bush was from Texas, Perry Randy's from Texas, Cruz is from Texas. Maybe we should look at people from other parts of the country.
Yeah, Kennebunkport, Texas.
I have no problem at all with Ted Cruz's politics, but I can see where he would be sort of a hard. Let's face it.
I got you.
Who wasn't quite as controversial. The guy's a billionaire. Okay, well, I guess if you're successful in business, that means you're not qualified to run the country. But typically, if you look at the history of presidential elections, the nominee, now Kennedy is an exception to that because he was a senator. It's rare for someone to come out of the Senate directly. Now,
yeah, well, don't forget our current president was a so-called senator too.
Yeah.
So
for what, 2 years?
Well, like I said, and I don't know if he ever voted for anything either. He certainly didn't accomplish anything worthy of note. But
no, he voted president.
Yeah. He voted president. But I tell you, I think that you're on with that. And having said that, I wish the country would rise up and really take a good hard look at a good, solid constitutional conservative. Because that, in my estimation, is what is required, and that's my soapbox moment for this conversation. But Charlie, we're going to leave the conversation here because we've been at it for a while, and really do appreciate.
My cell phone battery's about to die,
and that's an even better reason. We, as always, appreciate you, Mr. Charlie Kerr, being here. If it's high quality socket screw products, cold formed special products and screw machine products, Kerr Lakeside, the website over there If you want to learn more, www.kerrlakeside.com. Once again, our most sincere condolences about the loss of your father, and thank you so much for really, you haven't really lost a step here. You sound like you're up. I know it's got to be a painful time for you and your family and the whole Kerr Lakeside family. So thanks once again, Charlie Kerr.
No, I appreciate it. Well, anyhow, maybe we should touch base after the election. You can replay this interview and you can call me out on some of my erroneous predictions.
Well, we never stop laughing at ourselves, so that's a deal.
All right.
So, Charlie, thank you very much for taking time off and joining us. And I still remember my visit to your manufacturing plant, and I loved every minute I was there.
Well, I appreciate you guys trusting me to add some sort of intellectual value to your program.
That's good.
There's a lot of people that would love to be on that don't get the chance to do it, and I've been, asked to come back a couple of times, and that means a lot to me. Thank you very much.
Well, we always get a little spike whenever Charlie Kerr appears in the description, so you're always welcome, and we do appreciate it once again. I know we won't be seeing you in Vegas this year, so sorry for that, but we'll catch you at an NCFA meeting one of these days, and until then, you stay well.
Yes.
Thank you.
Fastener Talk Radio. It's like feng shui for the fastener industry. Brian and Eric. Fully Threaded Radio.
Mick Jagger once said, "You can't always get what you want." Well, that's just not the case with Trinity Hardware headquarters. You can get what you want, and you can get it fast. With over 30,000 varieties of fasteners and new lines of package clamps, carriage bolts, and plow bolts, you've entered Fastener Paradise. Trinity Hardware headquarters also provides a long list of services to complete your fastener experience. New services such as custom packaging, kitting and polybagging, mill shipments, hold and release and pallet or quarter keg shipments make Trinity Hardware headquarters your one-stop shopping destination. They also offer secondary services such as patching, machining, drilling, coatings and platings, and parts to print or industry standards. You know, Mick also complained about not getting any satisfaction. He just hasn't yet come to Trinity Hardware headquarters. And don't forget, you can order 24/7 online from trinityhardwarehq.com or call 888-232-1010 anytime. Trinity Hardware headquarters for parts done right.
For a selection of hundreds of thousands of fasteners, check out your local Fastenal store or fastenal.com. We can stock domestic or internationally sourced product locally and keep your bin stock filled for you at no additional expense. We are a 9001-2008 certified company that's made a huge investment in quality control so you don't have to. And if you can't find it on our shelf, we can make it for you at the quantity you need at one of our many manufacturing facilities. Learn more by contacting your local Fastenal store or visiting fastenal.com today.
Hello. You may not know me, but this is the voice of Buckeye Fasteners. I don't usually drink beer, but when I do, it is always Old Rusty Boat beer, the official beer of the traveling salesman and Buckeye Fasteners. So, if you're attending the Fastener Show in Las Vegas, be sure to stop by Buckeye's booth 845 on Thursday to get yourself an Old Rusty Boat beer. Stay rusty, my friends.
Hi, Bob O'Brien of Certified Products in Chicago. You're listening to Fully Threaded Radio, the largest proponent of free beer in the fastener industry.
Brian and Eric, Fully Threaded, the tour de force of the fastener industry. Of course, there seem to be a lot of those cropping up lately in the industry, huh? All these different organizations started, seems like, with Wi-Fi, and then the Fastener Industry Coalition and young professionals, and man, they're just coming out of the woodwork, Brian.
Right. I hope they all end up liking Fully Threaded and Fast Clearinghouse, and I hope they all know how to use phones and things like that. Then they'll all be friends of ours, okay?
You can never have too many friends, and especially in the fastener industry.
No, that's true.
Hey, one of our friends is Nancy Rich. She's the executive director of the Midwest Fastener Association, which is our home association, among a couple others.
Yep.
And she has advised us that the Fastener Industry Coalition and the Young Fastener Professionals have announced their 30 under 30 winners. And I'm not entirely sure about exactly all of what this is, even after our conversation with Gary. But a few of our buddies certainly made the list. One of them, Kristen Kessler from Solution Industries. That was very nice to see. Also, Gary Graham's cousin, Andy Graham, he of National Threaded Fasteners. Also, congratulations to him.
Okay, good.
Uh-huh. Jordan Lawrence from Trinity Logistics. That was good to see. And, of course, what list of 30 under 30 would be complete without the I guess he's the brainchild of this whole thing, Christopher Ryder.
Yep.
Brian Wheeler of Star Stainless made the list as well, and Caleb Zender of Trinity Logistics. The whole list is available, and I'm sure it'll be in Link Magazine and at all the other likely media outlets, and you'll probably be able to pick up a copy at the show. But I don't know most of these people because, hey, let's face it, we're old guys. But
yeah, I know.
You know, these are the people who use technology, and speaking of good friends, we hope to meet them all eventually and to make them all our friends. So congratulations to everybody who made the 30 under 30 list.
Yeah, right. Want to make yourself known? Stop by, say hi. We look forward to seeing you, okay?
That's right. Again, FCH will be in booth 1855.
Right.
Like to thank our guests on today's show. That was quite the lengthy yet very informative and wide-ranging conversation today with Mr. Charlie Kerr of Kerr Lakeside. Also, Gary Graham of National Threaded Fasteners. And, of course, the big deal in the industry, Ms. Jackie Ventura, substituting on the Fastener News Report this episode. Great job, Jackie. You sounded wonderful. And she put that whole thing together herself, too, and I especially liked her back page report because, let's face it, we need a little bit of oomph out there. And, folks, if you haven't heard of Common Core, get to know it, especially if you have kids. But, I mean, it's just another one of these planks in what I estimate is the destruction of the country, and I'm not happy about it one bit. I don't have any kids, but it's a big deal.
Yeah, it is. It is. Everyone talks about education is very, very important. I agree. I love it. I love the whole idea of it. I don't really love the idea of some of the little twists that are being put into it on this.
Yeah, such as the reading level of a high school graduate being at a 7th grade level being adequate, or say the idea that the Constitution of the United States was written by terrorists. Some of it is just hair-raising. So Common Core is something that's got to be defeated, folks, and good job, Jackie, once again for bringing it to our attention.
Right. Oh, you missed one important one, too. You know, a written explanation of the difference between George Bush and Hitler. Okay.
Geez, is there one? I thought they were nearly the same.
This is what they're trying to hope the students will realize, okay?
Yeah. Bad news.
Yeah.
But there's good news out there, too, and that is that we have a wonderful group of sponsors for Fully Threaded Radio, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger. The title sponsors of Fully Threaded Radio are Stellfast. For service you deserve and people you trust, it's Stellfast. Don't forget to pick up your monkey, folks. The other title sponsor of Fully Threaded is Trinity Hardware Headquarters. Trinity, for parts done right. Also supporting Fully Threaded Radio, Buckeye Fasteners, Solution Industries, Fastenal, ND Industries, Volt Industrial Plastics, and Fastener Technology International Magazine. Hey, we look forward to hearing from you, folks. If you can't make it to the show, please get with us anytime. The email address, ftr@fullythreaded.com. We're also out there on Twitter under the handle Fully Threaded. You can communicate with us that way, too.
And you can check out for more info about things we mentioned on the show at our Facebook page.
Yes, although we use that less and less and less these days, and eventually my hope is to phase that out. But you're right, we do give attribution. I'd like to point out also at the top of the show, we played something that was called The Idiot's Guide to Smart People, Politics. And that was hilarious. There's a much longer version on YouTube. You can see it under the previously stated title. That was put together by a group called Above Average Network. They're pretty darn funny videos that they've got up there. Again, that one was called The Idiot's Guide to Smart People Politics. And
okay. Right.
You know, we try to kind of keep a little bit away from politics on the show like we used to, but let's face it, this is the pre-midterm election episode of Fully Threaded Radio, episode 87, which we're just about to wind up. We thank everybody for listening. We hope you'll share Fully Threaded with your friends. Tell everybody you know. We'd really appreciate it.
Yes, but you're missing something, okay?
Well, what's that?
Well, you haven't really told us. Andy Pells is going to be at the show this year.
Ah, yes. The amazing Mr. Andy Pells. What Fastener show would be complete without him being there?
You're right.
We had some fun last year, that's for sure. Well, I got some bad news, folks. I got a message from Mr. Pells very recently, and unfortunately, he is overloaded, and he will not be attending this year. He gave his condolences. He said, try and have a good time without him. I don't know if it's possible, but we're going to give it a try.
Oh, God. Please tell me it's not Ebola related.
We're going to try and steer clear of politics and Ebola for the next couple of episodes, folks. But thanks for thinking of him, Brian. I'm sure he'll get kind of a big kick out of that.
Okay.
This has been episode 87 of Fully Threaded Radio, everybody. We hope to see you at the Vegas show.
Booth 1855.
That's right. For Brian Musker, this is Eric Dudas. We'll see you at the show, or we'll see you online. Either way, get out there, sell some screws, and we'll talk to you next time.
Fully Threaded Radio is a production of Fastener's Clearinghouse. Music provided by Audionautics.
I was half the size. You're recording this?
Well, now I am. No, we're here with Andy Pells. We've just come from the Buckeye booth. Well, that was about 10 minutes ago. How was the Old Rusty, and you feeling any kick off that, Andy?
I think the alcohol content is somewhere around 15 to 20% on the Old Rusty Bolt, judging by how I feel.
Wow, that's high for a beer, isn't it?
It's extremely high. I think it's illegal, actually, and the ATF, or whatever they're called now, is probably going to be showing up any minute.
Right, well, that's probably true, but I think in Nevada you can get away with stuff like that, which is, I think, one of the big draws. So at this point, should we head over to the NFDA, sample what they've got, and report back?
Sounds like a plan.
Eric and Andy, NIFS.